Dahil kanina, hindi ako natapos magbabasa ng light novel at medyo naboboard ako kasi walang images. So, let's start. Magbasa naman tayo. Dito na ako kasi sa episode nito ng Japanese title, if I'm not mistaken, ng Apothecary Diaries. Kusuriya no Hitowigoto. Dito ko siya nakuha sa website ng bato.co. I don't know, just come here. So, please bear with me. Samahan niyo akong basahin ang light novel, web novel ng Apothecary Diaries. So, excited na ako magbasa. So, ayan na nga siya. Ayan na siya. Okay, let's go guys. Reasoning. After listening to Momo's reasoning, in the end, it's pretty cold out tonight. Surrey's case was concluded behind the scenes. Puzzling enough, the contractor who had the coffin transported claimed he never received a request to begin with. The thing that tormented Jinshi's mind. Chapter 34, Gaoshun. Volume 6 is now on sale. Also, a reminder to buy the official English translation by Square Enix if you'd like to support the author. Volume 1 comes out on August 11. The court lady known as the Surrey has always been shrouded in mystery. Is this is going to take a long time to investigate. According to the doctor who knew her, his teacher was her guardian. A few years ago, he stumbled upon her and noticed her innate talent for medicine, so he adopted her. Though he didn't know anything about how she lived until then, there's been nothing but unresolved incidents lately. It really worries me about the future. I've escorted Mau Mau back. I feel like if I were to leave her alone, she'd just end up doing things that would open up her wound again. That's why I assigned Gaoshu to act as Mau Mau's escort since the ceremony. I see. Sorry to have bothered you. But that worries me isn't only her wound. But what worries me isn't only her wound. There's also the issue of the eccentric Rakan. The fact that he's her father is most likely true, but there appears to be some circumstances in the background. Summary: Mau Mau, who has employed by Jinxie, realized the true intentions behind the recent incidents and so saved Jinxie from almost certain death. She then explained the tricks and traps laid by the mastermind, but he even appeared to be involved with the ceremony's intrusion the other day. The fact that nobody knows what he's thinking is already considered common sense in the imperial court. In that regard, Gao Shun has been silently trying to keep everything in order for me. He's the person who was put in charge of my education as soon as I started winning. There are also times when he does jobs unrelated to me, but there's no doubt he's the person who knows the most about me. There's also the fact that his wife was my nursing mother. I already can't repay him enough for everything for me. He's done for me. So we're checking the inner palace tomorrow? Or yes. Go. It appears to be safe, just as usual. In other words, it tastes strange as usual. It's a medicine made by dissolving a ground up root vegetable from a certain country. It's drunk every day, it'll bring about a peculiar effect. But no matter how many times I drink it, I'll never get used to this strange sweet taste. You don't have to drink it if you don't want to, though. It's essential to be able to pass off as a eunuch. If you want to conduct yourself as much, you shouldn't be pinching your nose in front of others. It makes you look childish. I know. Thus, stature, refined gestures with a celestial maiden's face and honey-like voice to boot. The emperor did say that he could do whatever he wanted to low-class consorts and those below them, but ever since he decided to bear the mask called Jinshi 6 years ago, he has been drinking medicine to suppress his masculinity every day. The 24-year-old man who became a eunuch with the ascension of the current emperor 5 years ago. Is that the persona known as Jinshi? You know, if you keep up, if you keep this up, you'll end up becoming permanently impotent.
Hmm.
Isn't it the same for you too? My kids are already adults. I even got a grandson a few days ago. So you don't want to have any more kids? How old are you? I'm currently 37 years old. If I remember correctly, you got married when you were 16, right? Correct. I then had kids the following years. So which one got you a grandson? My oldest one. I hope my youngest one gets married soon as well. Boston is your younger son, right? Isn't he only 19 years old? Yes. He's the same age as you, Your Highness. 19. Hmm. Quickly, find a wife and finish this job already. Is that your impression, said? Please let me hug my grandson soon. I'll do my best. A once simple and refreshing garnet palace which lacked anything and everything unnecessary has now been turned into something dazzling and gorgeous. Maybe she's just trying to express her loneliness. Consort Ruran, who recently entered his palace, doesn't seem to have any troubles with her daily life. Ruran's father is someone very liked by the previous Empress Dowager. He's an officer who once increased the number of palace ladies to 3,000. You could say she's a consort who has forcefully instated. I was worried it was going to cause an uproar, but it doesn't look like any such thing happened. The inner palace serves to help maintain the power balance within the imperial court, but it can also help destroy it. Currently, the most favored consort by the emperor is Consort Gyukuyo. It seems Consort Ruan is quite the fashionable one. And the second most favored one would be Consort Riva, but every time she makes an appearance, she wears different makeup and has some new hairstyle. Even when she attended that class in the inner palace, she wore a gaudy feather head ornament and some unusual clothes. That doesn't mean the emperor is completely ignoring Consort Ruran either. He visits her once every 10 days. She also wears clothes from southern countries as well as northern barbaric tribes. She even wears clothes meant for young men. She's also been seen wearing western dresses with high waistline. Apparently, the emperor couldn't figure out who she was whenever he made a visit. Who he eventually lost his desire for. So he eventually lost his desire for her? According to a certain rumor, she's doing what she's doing that because she's insecure about her plain facial features. I'm not sure how much of that is true though. Speaking of desire, the same also applies to consort Rishu. But that's because the emperor that's because the emperor discussed those who violate young girls like how the previous emperor did. The reason for that is because the Empress Dowager gave birth to him at a very young age, which ended up leaving a huge scar on her stomach. Since giving birth is extremely hard on such a small body, her stomach needed to be cut open. The mother's body, which was thought to be untreatable, was saved by the skills of a doctor who returned from a foreign country, but the scar on her stomach remained. Fortunately, her womb was safe, and 10 years later she gave birth to another child. Throughout his life, the heavens only blessed the previous emperor with these two children. Maybe it was because of the incident with her first child that the doctors were made to stay in constant attendance to the Empress Dowager when she was giving birth to the second prince. That's also the reason why the consort of that time, Crown Prince Lady Aduo, had nobody attending to her. That's when Lady Aduo lost her womb, and also her one and only child. If her child was still alive today, useless thinking. Mm. Could you just hurry up make another child already? After that particular educational class, the emperor started visiting his consorts more frequently. Results might show faster than expected. Sorry to have kept you waiting. Please head in. Looks like the emperor visited the Jade Palace yesterday. Sorry for intruding. Ah, you've gone. You look exhausted. Could it be you're sick? Actually, the inner palace? Yes, your favorite job. Consort Gikuyu time of the month didn't come. During her pregnancy of Princess Rinri, there were two assassination attempts, of which the culprit was never found. She must have been feeling really uneasy. That time of the month, or in more simpler words, menstruation. If it's absent, that means there is a chance that she's pregnant. When should I start? Could you start today? Sure. Being able to visit the inner palace is really convenient, since males are prohibited from entering the inner palace. If I'm in there, I'll be able to avoid that guy, whose name I don't even want to hear. Could it be? Is he being considered considerate? Is he being considerate of me? Or maybe it's just convenient for him. But regardless of the reason, I'm fine with it. Oh my! You sure seem to be a good mood. To be in a good mood. Heck, I'm not. Monthly reminder that you can read without ads on Manga Dex. Oh well, that's too bad. Just when I thought of promising last finally joined. Could you help me with the remaining plates? Sure. The inner palace. Speaking, create translation. Next chapter, 35. Go, 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 go. Let's say this. Back to the inner palace, part 1. In charge of medicine. In the inner palace, my life in the inner palace hasn't changed that much from before. There's no problem. I spend my days as a poison tester. We, will, we still aren't sure whether or not Consort Yukio is pregnant. Regardless, a gag order was put in place inside the Jade Palace. One can never be too safe. Apparently, she didn't have any morning sickness when she conceived Princess Finley as well. Aside from her absence of menstruation, she shows no other signs of pregnancy. I also requested Jinshi to suggest to Emperor to refrain from his nightly activities with her. Consort Gyukyo is no hold bars, the type that likes to go wild after all. Unexpectedly, though, the frequency of the Emperor's visit did not decrease. He comes to spend his time playing with Princess Rinri and to have small talk with Consort Gyukyo, like how he's doing now. I was worried that if his visitation frequently decreased, it would bring about unwanted suspicion. But it looks like I was worried for nothing. Also, thinking back of Concert Otto's case, maybe he's not just a old man. Isn't her appearance unbelievable? You have a point there. That doesn't matter, Concert Otto's appearance is still way better compared to that. But the tribal clothes she wore recently were kinda cool, wouldn't you say? Oh my! Could it be Infa is a part of a Lady Ottawa's cliche? Click. You're wrong. Looks like the people inside the inner palace still spend their free time gossiping as per usual. The most often talked about topic lately was has been about Concert Ottawa's replacement that arrived in the inner palace recently, Consort Turan. She wears all kinds of clothing from various places and tribes, causing the atmosphere around her to change each day. Despite that, Consort, hello! Cannot, cannot. Oh no! Sinasabi ko nga, bakit ganun ako magano? And despite that concert Turan has yet to have been ostracized. The inner palace is a world where you want to stand out, yet it is also a world where you're ostracized for standing out. The reason being her father, who was a highly regarded senior officer during previous emperor's era. Considering that she's the same age as me, this must have been being put off for a while. It seems that they put their plans into motion after Consort's Ottawa departure. She could have continued being a fine counselor for the emperor, but because she could no longer bear a child, she could also no longer become an empress, hence why she left. Instead, she was placed by the daughter of a person whose influence is not only over the inner palace but also the entire imperial court. She's someone who can't be completely ignored, yet at the same time having a child with her would cause enough troubles that it would give even the higher ups a headache. I guess the reason why she didn't become the emperor's consort when he was still a crown prince was because a consort with a significant backing can also be a hindrance. Excuse me, young lass. Long time no see. What did you bring? I came to clean the storage room. What? The storage room? Don't bother yourself with that, lassie. We can just ask somebody else to clean it. And what would you do if that somebody secretly swaps some medicine? Well, this quack doctor is a nice person. Shut yourself. It doesn't mean that he knows how to do his job right. The doctor who was close to Surrey was in discharge, thanks to this good past performance. This quack, on the other hand. Did you hear about the doctor from the Imperial Court who had his wage cut because he was negligent with his medicine supervisions there? Do you understand? Since it's beginning to get warm, we need to start stocking up on new medicinal herbs, right? And we also need to clean the room before the humidity gets too bad. Otherwise, it's going to be too late. Okay. Cleaning the dust off the shelves, checking the contents of the drawers, and cleaning the insides of them with a dry cloth. Disposing of the medicine that's gone bad or has been eaten by bugs. Doing inventory, changing the wrappings of the remaining medicine and storing them back in the drawers. And last but not least, putting charcoal in with them to regulate humidity. For dried medicine, humidity is the greasiest enemy. If we aren't careful with storing them, they'll spoil. Since my leg is still injured, I'm having the doctor help me put things back where they belong. Please put this back. Yes, it's serving as good exercise for the otherwise overweight doctor. Finally, we're almost done. Sweet food is the best when you're tired, right? This old man is just like a spoiled child. He serves mashed sweet potato snack that's rather hard to obtain in this kind of season, and not only that, he served it like it's nothing. Not to mention it's wrapped with such high quality paper. The paper is nice, isn't it? It's also being used within the imperial court. You see, my house employs the surrounding villagers to make paper. Amazing, wouldn't you say? This country has this country was once an exporter of paper, but the mother of the previous emperor, who was empress at that time, banned the logging of trees that were being used to create high quality paper. As a result, the quality of paper was greatly reduced. Even though the regulations have since been relaxed, there isn't enough raw materials to go around, hence, good quality paper making has come to a halt. The paper currently being sold in towns is made from grass and leftover scraps. Despite it being an inferior product in being practically useless, you still have to rake up a large sum of money to buy it. Back when I s- wa- Back when I was still a kid, we'd often had to choose the better of the inferior goods so that we could use them as one-time wrapping paper for our pharmacy. This kind of high quality paper is prepared when trying to protect medicine from moisture and preventing powder from spilling over. Instead, maybe I could have him give me an acquaintance discount. Back in the days, the more we produce, the bigger we'd profit. And since selling to other countries brought in more profit, we also slowly increased our export. As a result, I was often given all the sweets that I wanted as a child. But when logging became prohibited, those sweets gradually started turning more and more sour. When we were started using other materials for the paper, they didn't get so well received in the market. And as a result, my grandfather and our family were prosecuted by the villagers. Then we ran out of money, so my elder sister went to work in the inner palace. And later, even my younger sister followed her. So I decided to come here as well. Thanks to becoming a eunuch, a position that was in short stock, I received a high salary. In the end though, I never imagined to meet with my sister before their terms expired. Even so, I'm glad that they now available to get by in the village. He was unexpectedly rough. A few days later, I'm coming in. Are you ready to continue cleaning? Losing their warrant of appointment will have a huge impact on their sales. What happened? A letter came from my younger sister. She said, "We've lost our royal warrant of appointment." Gosh, this is certainly not the quality paper that should be sold to the imperial court. I wonder why, even though they were so existent about us being able to produce excited about us being able to produce more paper thanks to buying those cows. Cows? We use them for work that would otherwise require manpower. We could have used them for cleaning instead. How did this happen? Looks like this isn't the time for cleaning. Even with the quality drop, it's still vastly superior from the products sold in towns. Brush. There are no impurities present and the fibers are evenly crushed. The thickness is consistent as well. So it doesn't look like they've been cutting corners. The problem is the paper's coarse texture and tears. Are you using any special method to produce the paper? No, we're basically following the conventional method. It's just that we're quite meticulous when making the glue. Then it tears with the slightest of pull. But I can't tell you the details. Are you being meticulous about the waters as well? Yeah. In order for the glue to harden properly, we fetch spring water to control the humidity. Cows that were bought recently and water that was procured from a spring. Are you using the boiled water from the washing rice for the glue? Cluck, cluck. No way. We're using properly diluted wet flour. Otherwise, it wouldn't be strong enough to. Well, not like I care. Ah, found it. Where do you keep the cows? I don't know the details to that extent. Look, here you go. Arrowroot tea. Hey Lassie, you made it too thick. Now it's stuck to the cup and can't be drunk. I'm sorry. Let me teach you of a way of drinking it. Please copy me right. Alright, stir. Lick the spoon and stir it like this. It just looks like bad manners, dear stir. Oh, it become thinner. That's right. Also, arrowroot, tea, and glue are quite similar in this regard. Hmm, sir. So if I did this to the glue, it would become like water glue. This quack is as slow as cows. Have a lot of saliva in their mouths, right? Do you want to confirm where the cows are drinking water from, just in case? I need to write a letter to my younger sister. I'll take my leave for today. You're Momo from the Jade Palace, correct? Sorry to have kept you waiting. Monthly reminders that you can read without ads on mangadex.org. Hey, how does how much does buying a courtesan cost? Huh? What? In the next chapter, what does Hihaku want to consult about her about? It's about buying a consort. I we're in chapter 36. Hold on. And here I was thinking this was going to be about Suri, since he went through all the trouble to call me. This mongrel. Hear me out, lass. The last time I visited Rokushokan, I overheard that one of the three princesses was being bought. There no, there's no exact number for the price, as it may change at the moment's notice. Wow, wow, wow. Back to the inner paths, part 2. So he's worried about Vix's firing? If we were to exclude the dowry, 200 silver is about the average annual income of a farmer. Would end up with a base price of around 200 silver. Twice such an amount could be enough to buy you a cheap courtesan. Just be frank with me, how much is for the best of the best? Even if you ask me that, the price of a courtesan is calculated using the projected earnings she would bring in if she were to stay in service for the remainder of her contract, as well as various miscellaneous expenses. This quite easily doubles their final price. The reason for this is because Hamanachi has a custom of holding a grand congratulation party to send out their courtesans. Big Sis Pyrin has earned a lot since she started working in Rokoshokan. Because of that, the courtesan debt, which is included in the price of a courtesan, amounts to nothing in her case. Actually, her contract should have been ended a long time ago. The only reason she remained is solely because of her natural disposition being suitable for this line of work. The one who sucks the life force of men to maintain her youth is what is most often said about Irene. She's the oldest of the three princesses who started working here before I was even born, a symbolic courtesan who supported Rokushokan through its toughest time. If she were to be prized solely on her age, there's lost most of her value by now. But despite that, she still has her looks and dancing which she polished throughout the years. The granny, on the other hand, wants her to train a new employee while her store is still doing good. If Big Sis Irene was to be sold, it would most likely be to one of her two old acquaintances. The first one is a man who owns a workshop. He's a lavish, good-natured old man who loved Irene not for her night services but for her dancing. He has already voiced his interest in buying her a few times in the past. The other one is an esteemed high-ranking official who's still in his 30s. Apparently, he's great at night and could even match Irene in her trade. Irene is famous for her good dancing. However, she's even more famous for her unrivaled night services. However, the thing concerning me is that he looks tired whenever he's leaving after spending the night with her. Whenever she's feeling pent up. She doesn't stop at attacking just the man servants in the brothel. She even pounces on other courtesans and camoros. Simply put, she's a sex demon. Besides selling her, Grandma has also considered leaving Rokoshokan's management in her hand. If she does, Irene would withdraw from the public eyes and only take customers on special occasions. Given that Irene is not the type to retire on her own accord, this option would be for the best. If she does, Irene would withdraw from the public. She'd even be able to pursue love in her fleet, but that would be wasted on her. Before I started living with father, the ones who took care of me were Granny and the three princesses, Pyrene, Meme, and Joka. Especially Pyrene, who just recently graduated from being a Kamoro back then. With her unique ability to produce milk even though she's never given birth before, she became my wet nurse. Even though I called her my sister, she's actually an existence closer to that of a mother to me. Mothers to me. A lot of past partisans choose not to have children, not to mention they're more often than not can't thanks to having had lost their ability to bear children due to their frequent use of contraceptive and abortion medicines. I don't know her standing on that though, but I know that with her strong lust, Rihaku is still in his 20s. On top of that, he's head over heels for her despite knowing Pyrene's job, which requires her to service men other than him. She's surely a woman with a strong longing for a motherhood. He looks like a mongrel, but at heart he's an earnest man. He's also the type of idiot who would work hard for a woman. And above all else, when he first visited Rokushokan, he stayed in Pyrene's room for more than 2 days straight. Yet despite that, showed no sign of fatigue when leaving. As a potential buyer, he's not bad, but there's there is still the issue of Rihaku-sama, how much is your wage? Why do you ask? 800 silver per year. Hey, hey, don't underestimate me. Then 1200, so it's about 1000 silver per year. Not enough? Not enough. The total price should be around 10,000. 10,000? Say, if I were able to get that much silver, do you think I'd be able to buy her? Summer, after saving Genesis' life and solving his case, Momo was sent back to the Jade Palace because of Gyukoyo's pregnancy. Are you perhaps worried that she'll reject you? Stop. Mm. Can't be helped then. Ihaku-sama, please remove your clothes. It's not like I'll do anything shameful. I just want to take a look. I won't get rejected if I undress. The only thing I can do is judge you based on your appearances. Undress. Don't forget the bottom. Even the bottom? After you undress, put your arms up and flex your biceps. Like this. Big Sis Pyrin is a glutton who eats anything, but even she has her own preferences. Not bad. Hmm. A healthy skin tone, a pair of sturdy arms. His bone structure is sturdy without any deformities. A tight waist. Huh? High. These are great muscles befitting of a military officer. I can tell he has a well-balanced training routine. This might actually work. Not to mention perfectly sculpted thigh and loins muscles. Then please remove the last piece of clutter. What the heck are you doing? Jinsin-sama. Good day to you, Jinsin-sama. So, what were you doing? It's quite scary when a beautiful person gets angry. As the one who manages the inner palace, a woman from the inner palace willingly meeting with an outside man must have stuck his nerve. Since I heard that there would be no tea party being held today, I accepted the consultation request. If it was a mere consultation, why did the man need to be naked? I did nothing shameful. I never touched him. Just look closely. Look closely? For what purpose? Well, if you ask for that purpose, the best way to confirm whether or not a man's body is desirable is to use your own eyes, no? As I thought, nothing beats good looks. All things considered, the most important factor is how Irene feels. She's literous, sure, but I think I'd be for the best if she could marry the man she's really fond of. In terms of body build, he passes with flying colors. The last thing to confirm would be the most important bit and figuring out how to make him properly appeal to Irene. So, what do you think about his looks? His muscles are tight with no needless fat and are in good symmetry. I can tell that he's a diligent person who trains his body every day. His arms are impressive even for a military officer. You can assess a man by his body alone? We get a lot of customers in our pharmacy who aren't honest about themselves. So so I develop a habit of guessing people's daily life based on their physiques. Then you can assess me by looking at my body as well. This guy. Is he really being jealous of Rihaku right now? Uh, what's wrong? This guy is unbelievable. He wants to boast that his body is more beautiful than Rihaku's. Sure, no problem, I understand. Even without having to take a good look at him, I can already tell he has a lovely body. When I caught a glimpse of his body back when it was unexpectedly well built, but eh, even if I were to look at your body, there'd be no point whatsoever. It's unfortunate, but I think Jinchi Sama isn't suitable for my sister. Huh? I wonder what's going on. This is. I'm sorry for summoning you all of a sudden. Huh? If I'm not mistaken, his name should be Jin. A beautiful eunuch who is rumored to be highly favored by the emperor. He's younger than me, but he's diligent and doesn't make mistakes at work. Judging by the color of the ornament hanging from his waist, he's higher ranked than me. This is the first time I took a closer look at him. It feels like I've met him somewhere before. His aide who's accompanying him was the middleman who negotiated with Rokushokan back then. Thanks for taking care of my maid yesterday. It's not worth mentioning. That frickin' lass. She told me before that she was working as a maid in the outer court, but who could have thought that she'd be working for this eunuch? I heard you're currently in love with someone. Don't tell me. She told me about my plan to buy a courtesan. Ha! Could it be that he came to make fun of me? Well, when you're young, have both the looks and position, the idea of buying a courtesan might seem like a sad joke to you. But if he makes fun of Pairine, that's a different story. Pairine is a good woman. Her beautiful dancing figure in the bedroom, her caring attitude which is able to notice the smallest of things. It's simple to dismiss all of this as it simply being a part of her job. But even so, as long as I kept believing in her, then no matter what others says, it's all genuine. If he dares insult Pyrene, if I said that I could help you with your monetary issue, would you accept? Huh? What do you mean by that? Exactly what I said. Is 20,000 enough to buy her freedom? 20,000. I appreciate your offer, but to suddenly offer your help to an unknown officer, is that really okay? There's bound to be a trap behind that sweet offer. Even a child could tell. You see, my cat is pretty vigilant. Cat, is he talking about that last? While talking your consultation request. She also evaluated you as a possible partner for her sister at the same time. It's true. As disinterested as she may have appeared, she still did her best to help you. In other words, you're saying that you trust someone. In other words, you're saying that you'd trust someone if they grew attached to that cautious cat? Which attached? Did you see something wrong? I heard about you from various people. Even though you're a child of a local government official, you still went out of your way to become a military officer in the capital, where all the politics take place. I heard that your talent was discovered by an excellent strategist, and you were assigned troops as a result. To become a close friend with an officer who has good future prospects is what everyone wants, right? Even with that, 20,000 serve is too extravagant. I only needed half of that. No, if I take into account my saving and connections, I only need a quarter of that. I'm really thankful for your offer. To be honest, it's an offer that's too good to be passed on, but I can't accept your money. To you, she may be just one of To you, she may be just one out of many courtesans, but to me, she's the only one. If I bought the freedom of the woman I love with the money that I did not earn myself, I could I even call myself a man? I see. I'll excuse myself then. I might want to talk. I might want to talk with you again from now on. Would that be okay? I'd be my. It'll be my pleasure. It'll be my pleasure. Mm. What on earth was that? What this conversation led to was, oh boy, let's say that. Oh no, a letter came. Thank you. It's a reply from Big Sis from Rokushokan. I don't know what exactly Granny said, but I have no intentions of retiring just yet. Besides, I'm still waiting for my prince from a faraway country to pick me up someday. It seems Big Sis is a romantic who likes stories about a prince from another country who comes to save a princess from captivity with his white horse. Irene isn't someone who you could call adolescence anymore. Not to mention she's been in more relationships than you could count with your fingers. Regardless, this still doesn't stop her from having a dream. Maybe it's this exact stubbornness that's the secret for maintaining her youthfulness. I see. In the end, as long as she fancied him, paying 10,000 silver wouldn't really be needed. All he'd need to do is act as a prince. He just needs to be unmatched in physical strength and muscles, as well as having something every normal man has, unlike yours. Even Granny wouldn't overcharge him if he was someone that Firing chose herself. The only thing needed would more or less be the celebratory money. Being the best flower that bloomed in the garden, she needs to leave the stage with the same impact with which she arrived. As teeny as the granny is, she still holds lavish banquet for these kinds of events, because that's her pride of living as a courtesan. The celebratory money should be around 5,000 silver. A man who can't amass such a fortune isn't suitable for Pyrene in the first place. It'll only make him a few years to get that amount, assuming he keeps progressing here in his career. The rest is up to his luck. Oh, it keeps going. That person came to talk about redeeming a courtesan. I think the Kamoro understood his intentions. Rihaku came to ask Mau Mau for consultation when Jinsi found out about this. A series of misunderstanding unfolded. That person. She's using an unusual indirect description which means it's about him. What's the deal with him? Rose in nail polish. Part 1. Education for smart kids. Around the time when the buds of spring start to sprout, Gyukuyu concerned pregnancies was almost certain. Unsteady, unsteady, unsteady. Her menstruation completely stopped along with the disappearance of her enthusiasm and energy. Her body temperature rose and her urinating grew more frequent. Also, kids are truly mysterious creatures. Can she sense her mother's pregnancy? Soon, I too. Even if someone were to propose to her, it would be stopped because she's one of the few elite maids that the Jade Palace has. Being too talented has its own share of troubles. Yeah. When I was working under Jinishi, my days felt uselessly long, but recently I've been feeling like time flies fast. Maybe it's because I'm finally spending my time being productive. Good girl, good girl. A blue rose? Was it? Yes. Hence, it's been decided that they want to admire it. So he wants me to search for it. Hmm. But I'm a pharmacist though. Apparently, it used to bloom inside the inner court a long time ago. Do you know anything about that? It's not that I have no knowledge whatsoever regarding roses, it's just. Are you sure it's not just some sort of delusion caused by widespread opium usage? I was told that there is no such thing as a blue rose. If such a thing was circulating in the court, this country would have already been ruined. so it so it's impossible. What would you like me to do? I'd like to have them for the next month's garden party. Next month? Change the summer. The blooming season is still 2 months away. So he didn't know? I will reject them somehow. Ah, that reaction. Could it be that this information was brought up by a certain strategist? Yes, you're right. They understand. I will accept your request. I keep avoiding him, but this is just pissing me off. Might as well go and crack open his smug monocle wearing face. Are you sure? Yes. I don't know what I can do, but I'll try my best. Jinichi-sama, I have a few requests if you wouldn't mind. Crystal Palace. This palace is a sauna that was built for Consort Rifa. It was used to help rid her body of poison. I asked for permission to use this palace through Jinshi, but I wasn't expecting her to accept immediately. As thanks, I gave her a new book that was sent to me by Rokushokan. This is the Emperor's favorite book. Emperors? I redirected the steam from the sauna to a newly built shed right outside. The shed has windows in its walls and seating to let more sunlight inside. Over 100 roses were brought here, all of which came from a family of roses that blooms early. I carried them outside whenever there's a sunny day so that they can bathe in the sunlight. Run, run. For him to build this just for a bunch of roses, just how big is his salary? While keeping them warm throughout the night. On cold days, Jinshi sent over a few eunuchs to help, but because I couldn't afford for any of the roses to wither, I had to watch over the humidity myself. The wound on my legs ended up opening up a few times as well, because I move around a lot. When Goshen found out about that, he assigned somebody to watch over me. The person assigned unexpectedly ending up being Shauran. Mama, is your legs alright? Let me help you. She enjoyed helping me because not only was she allowed to skip out of her work, she even got snacks on top. Flowers usually bloom during fixed periods, but there are times when mistakes are made in cracking time and they ended up blooming off season. What I'm trying to do is something similar to that by intentionally treating them as if they were in the middle of their blooming season. I only have less than a month though, so there's no guarantee that they'll bloom. This is going to be gruesome one. Oh wow, look! It's budding, it turns. Despite appearing as a strict palace, how troublesome. From time to time, be it either due to curiosity or fear, palace lady come loitering and taking a peek. It's done. Woo! So this is a mannequin. It's also used by a high-class consortium, right? There's always a trend in the inner palace, and it is the emperor's most favorite consort who are the trendsetters. They surely won't bother coming here anymore. If the maid from the Crystal Palace become interested in manicure, the maids aspiring to become consorts will often try to mimic a high-class consort. They'll only get in the way. Alright, time for work. Manicure is a common thing in Hamanachi, but that could also be the reason it's rarely seen in the inner palace. Around the time manicure started becoming a trend among the maids of the inner palace, the buds of the roses started swelling, showing white petals underneath. This year's spring garden party is being held as the peonies are in full bloom. Since the wind is still strong and cold, it ended up being held later than the previous year. Because Consort Yuko's pregnancy has been confirmed, she won't be at attending this year's garden party. The official reason being that they want to give her a spot for the unveiling of Consort Rokan. I can't believe you dated. They haven't fully bloomed yet. Bloom. Nah, this should be good enough. Leave the rest to me. Next chapter, the garden party. I want it to be colored. The gaze is concentrated on the roses were a mix of all kinds of emotion. Are those blue roses? No way. It shouldn't have been possible for him. A rose and nail polish, part 2. Mau Mau borrowed a facility in the Crystal Palace in order to grow blue roses that Jinxis requested for, but no matter how many may fear the exceptional talents of this existence known as Jinshi, the officers in the palace aren't people without greed. There are even young eunuchs that would love to meddle in his affairs. But as long as they show their intentions, they're easy to deal with. The most troublesome one here is the one with the eyes that betrayed nothing. Shishu, the father of the newly arrived consort Uran. He received a favor from the empress, the mother of the previous emperor. Even today history remains unofficial. The current emperor can't just oppose. I can't read him, since it's like this. I too will put up a smile befitting of a young eunuch. Whew, troubled them. How can you get away with that? Ah, look, looks like I grabbed someone's hat and wig while I was half asleep. Whew. The long-awaited roses are showing off their many shades of bright colors, as if they were trying to boast of the somewhat maniacal, maniacal, maniacal efforts the florist went through. So she didn't come? Opens. Oh my, look who woke up. Mama, you shouldn't go to the Crystal Palace anymore. You always end up overworked when you go there. Has she woken up? Butter, butter. You don't need to stand up. So, how did you do this? I merely dyed it. I don't see any dye on the petals though. Dye? Give it to me. I dyed it from the inside. Proof. Look at the base of the stem. See? Blue water. All of the roses that were planted in the hut were white. When you put a flower in a pigmented water, the stem will absorb the water and the petal will be dyed with the pigment. Ra- So, as long as it's still able to absorb water, you can make a flower with any color you want. I cut off the stems that had turned black and wrapped each and every one within cotton that was dipped in colored water until the day of the party. It was a time consuming process. So are you saying that the blue rose that bloomed in the past, someone who had a lot of free time must have made the rose absorb blue colored water every single day? Why would anyone even do that? The hardest part was getting them to bloom. Who knows? Maybe he wanted to court a lady with it. Did you dye your nails? That's rather unusual of you. Yes, it doesn't suit me though. If I just had some balsam and wood sorrel flowers. The balsam flower, also known as chumabeni, TL note, literally means nail polish, and the wood sorrel flower, also known as nekoashi, literally means cat's leg. They both, when both flowers are grinded together into a paste, the wood sorrel will end up making the red color of the balsam look more vivid. Well, even if I'm able to dye it with a pretty color, my left pinky nail is still warm. It has grown recently though. Sir, Goshin-sama, the thing I requested for? Oops, I still have work to do. It has been prepared. Thank you very much. With this, the stage has been set. The only thing left to do is to surprise that creepy old guy. Drowsy, drowsy. The smell of food and sake, the music coming from the stringed instruments, even the pretty concubines. None of them were ever the target of this man's interest. Since a long time ago, the things that don't interest him have never left any sort of impression on him. Finally, this boring banquet is over. The faces of common people look like go pieces to him. Strategy board games. Even the faces of military officers look like shogi pieces to him. Chinese chess. Most of them are labeled as pawns, and the next most common ones are knights. The work of a strategist is simple. He just needs to place the appropriate piece at the appropriate location at the right time. You can win most battles with the simple principle of placing the right person at the right place. That being said, I didn't expect that my provocation would fail. I guess I'll go tease the usual to let off steam. It's easy to find them, since that advisor with a celestial smile is always accompanied by his bishop. Looks around. In the first place, I didn't like crowded places, but somehow I'm seeing a lot of red today. It hurts my eyes. I see it's their manicure. Hmm. The nail polish from his recollection wasn't a gaudy red like the ones in front of him. It was a simple light red from a balsam flower. A sudden encounter. You'll notice him as white and black round pieces from the game Go, while others appear as pieces from the game Shongi, which is also known as Chinese chess. If you want to find out more about Shongi, Wikipedia is your friend. Here are the two pieces used on Jinshi and Gaoshun. There you go, guys. Ooh, 36 minutes. Rose and nail polish for the inviting Rakan. Shift. Care to be my opponent? Shongi. I see no reason to refuse my cute little daughter's invitation. I'll have standard matches with no variety. Best out of 5 wins. How about I give you a handicap? I can drop a knight or a rook. There's no need for that. You should have accepted it though. I'm more importantly, shouldn't we decide on what we'll be betting? I'm glad you understand. If I win, I'll have you become my daughter. I'll have you become my daughter. Stops. Momo was the word. Huh? Mau Mau was working as a maidservant at James's place. I can see it. Huh? Not to return to the inner palace to take care of Consort Yuko, who's pregnant. However, one day Jinzi approached Mama with a request of her to prepare blue roses, which are rumored to have once bloomed in the garden of the inner palace. As she struggled to fulfill Jinzi's request, Mama once again confronts Rakan, the official who made the suggestion. We promised not to say anything, but I don't mind. Contract? Are you really employed? It will only happen after my employment contract expires, though. Yes. Hey, what is she thinking? But if I win, could you redeem a courtesan from Rokushokan? I won't mention her name yet, but there's a courtesan the granny wants to have retired due to her age, as expected. If that's everything you want, I see no reason to accept. Reason not to accept. Is that all? I'll be adding two more rules. I don't mind. Well then, rustle. Clunk, clunk. Juggling by the smell, that's quite a strong liquor. Pop, pop, pop. Hey, shit. I have a really bad feeling about this. Shit. What's that? If taken in small amounts, it acts as medicine. But if you were to drink 3 glasses of it, it acts as a deadly poison. I mix this into 3 of the 5% glasses. I will shuffle the glasses so no one knows which of them are spiked. Matches. Okay, go. She sure came up with something nasty. After each match, the winner will choose a glass and the loser will have to drink it. There's no need to drink all of it, though, even the mouthful is enough. That's the first rule. The second rule is that if either of us, for whatever reason, had to abandon the match, it'll account as it'll count as a loss. Is that okay? I don't mind. Is she trying to shake him up? If her opponent was a normal person, it could have proven effective, but she's going against his eccentric strategies. This eccentric status. I don't think he'll be shaken up that easily. What exactly is she planning? Whew. She lost again? This is her second consecutive loss. Since she dared to challenge his strategies to a game he's never lost in, one would assume she would at least be proficient in the said game, but while she does seem to understand the rule of the game, she doesn't appear to have any real experience playing it. That was already her second glass. Since she seems to be enjoying the liquor, it's impossible to tell whether or not what she drank had poison in it. If we assume that the two drinks that she already had were poisoned, then there's a one-third of a chance that her third drink will contain poison. There was one-tenth of a chance for one of them to drink all three poison glasses at the start. Their difference in skill is just too big. Momo should be okay even if she is drinking poison, but that's what makes it all that much scarier. Is how much of this situation is Rakan able to read. Check. Oh, his king is surrounded. Oops, it's my loss. Even if boys, by no means would I let my own daughter consume poison. So which one will you choose? Please choose whichever you want. Does the poison have any taste? You'll be able to taste the difference easily. I see. The medicine becomes poison if you take it 3 times. So if he wants to ensure that Momo doesn't get 3 poisons drink, you just need to get a glass that tastes differently. He still has 2 more chances left. To deliberately lose for that reason, as expected, he's a cunning. But it's so slap. Now he no longer needs to worry about the poison anymore. She has no chance of winning now. Is there even anything we can do to reverse this situation? Also, isn't it harmless if only taken once? No matter how much you hate him, no matter how much you hate him, to serve him real poison is. I didn't lie. Alcohol is a medicine. What do you mean, Shinshisama? It appears that he's only drunk. What? This guy is a non-drinker. Now that I think about it, he always drinks fruit juice from the gourd hanging from his waist. I've never actually seen him drink alcohol before. Then what was that powder you put in? A mixture of salt and sugar? It helps the alcohol get absorbed faster. In other words, Rakan already knew about this from the start. Anyway, I finished my first aid trick. Let's head out immediately. I'll have him choose a courtesan for me. Monthly reminder that there's an official English translation by Square Enix coming for this manga on December 8th. Alright. In the next issue, colored pages and covered alongside new developments. Alright. Yes, new chapter, new color. Anak, pumunta ka na sa bed. It's already become a nuisance. Nuisance is a must. For as long as I can remember, I've been unable. I've been unable. For as long as I can remember, I've I've been able to differentiate between people. I wasn't just unable to tell my nursing mother and actual mother apart, I couldn't even tell who was the man and who was a woman. The story of Rakan finally comes to light. My father gave up on me and turned his attention to his lover. As for my mother, she tried everything she could in hopes of bringing him back. Hmm. That's why, despite being the eldest son in the family, I was able to live a career free life filled with Go and Shangi games, which I learned through repetitive practice. Mama, who returned to the inner palace, challenged Rakan to a game of Shangi. She succeeded in making him drink alcohol and forcing a total victory. Don't really don't rely on faces to tell people apart. Try remembering people through their voices, personality, or physical appearances. Try assigning them to something you're familiar with. In your case, how about the Shangi pieces? Thanks to the help from my brilliant uncle, the only person who understood me, I was gradually able to come to recognize people's faces and chess pieces. The day that I finally recognized my uncle as a rook piece was the day when I once again realized just how brilliant this man was. I was assigned the position of a leader despite not having any talent in martial arts solely because I came from a noble family. Even if I'm weak, it's more than enough as long as I could use my subordinates efficiently. The Shongi games back then, which used real people as chess pieces, were undoubtedly the most interesting games I had. As I emerged as unbeatable in both chess games and my job, I decided to have a game with a rumored courtesan that resides in a brothel where me and my colleagues often visited. In an ocean of black and white pieces, she shone ever more brightly. Her name was. What's her name? A rose in nail polish marker. Feng Shen. The match between an unbeatable courtesan of the brothel and an invincible leader of the military is a great spectacle for us spectators no matter which side loses. The efficient strategies and decisive choices, she's strong. But in the end, she's still but a frog in a well. I lost, murmur, murmur. Not to mention it was a resounding loss at that. Haha. I wonder when was the last time I lost this badly. Ha ha ha. Ah. So this is what a person's face looked like. What I saw back then was the seemingly dissatisfied face of a woman, which seemed to give off the feeling of not tolerating anyone trying to ridicule her. Not cluttered. Shoggy board? Rin. I won't lose. I won't lose. I won't lose this time. From that day onward, our Go and Shangi games continued for many years. Feng Shen, who was born in a brothel, had a personality tempered by her pride. I don't have a mother. There was a woman who gave birth to me, but courtesans in Hamanachi aren't allowed to become mothers. Courtesans are merely commodities for brothels who can raise their prices by restraining their reservations. Even though this strategy didn't work for everyone, it was well received amongst a particular audience. As our price increased, our meetings also gradually reduced to once every 3 months. What's that? It's wood sorrel. It's a medicinal plant which can be used as an antidote for treating insect bites. Its seed pod usually explodes upon touch, sending all the seeds flying. Oh, now that sounds interesting. Now that sounds interesting. Let me try. On that day, Feng Shen was unusually talkative. In 3 months, I understand. That was also the that was also the day talks about Feng Shen being redeemed began to surface. Feng Shen's price gradually increased as her admirers competed. For me, those position as the house's successor was taken away by my stepbrother. The price wasn't something I could simply afford. Would you like to make a bet with me? I will give you whatever you want if you win. And likewise, you will give me whatever I want if I win. You can choose the board you want to play. At that time, I had a sudden ominous feeling. Place. So this is go. So is go your choice? Yes. May May. I want to focus on the game, lad. Clock. Clock, clock. We didn't utter a single word, and unknowingly our hands intertwined, leading us to crossing a line we shouldn't have. Oh no. I want another game of Go. The only thing I could think of back then was the game of Shongli. On that day, all talks about Feng Shen being redeemed came to an end. Rustle, 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 creak, creak. Soon after my brilliant uncle lost his position, although it didn't affect our family, my father started belittling my uncle, and he furthermore ordered me to go on an expedition. Back then, I couldn't refuse him as he was not only my father but also my superior. Everything was sudden that I only managed to send a letter to the brothel. I thought I could return after about half a year, but in the end, I only managed to return home after 3 whole years. That day, my room was filled with old documents covered in dust, but among them was a letter stained in dark red, and a half-open pouch beside it. A lump of dirt, or is it some small branch? No, this is a finger. Ubiquity. It was a trending curse back then. Pinky swear. How did I fail to realize my mind was so preoccupied with Go and Xiangli that I couldn't even come close to figuring out something so bluntly obvious. What's the point of you coming here now? Feng Shen is already gone. Feng Shen is already long gone. I could have easily figured it out if I just gave a little thought. It's normal for people to lose their interest in courtesan whose talks of redeeming came to such an abrupt end, especially when their price exploded like Feng Shen's did. And as a result, those courtesans would have no other choice but to take customers at night. And in the end, no matter how much I screamed, I could never turn back time. After that, I snatched the family head position from my father, ousted my step-brother, and adopted my nephew. Stop bugging me. There are no babies. Scram. Even so, I still regularly return to Rokushokan's door, only to get beaten up by the granny every time. Step. That child, she was just like a wood scrum. Sorrel, what are you doing? I'm making medicine. You. Ah, Dad! Come here, Mau Mau. It's dangerous. Standing there was my uncle, Roman, the rookies who went missing after the incident. Uncle? Ah, her hand. That twisted little finger. That painful feeling woke me up. I don't want to I don't want to live a life surrounded by chess pieces. I just want to be with her, with my daughter. That is my only wish. I want another game of Go. The only thing I could think of back then was the game of Shangi. There are multiple interpretations here. Feng Shen was hoping for a girl, while Rakan was hoping to have a young boy. They simply wanted this time to continue on forever. Go was Feng Shen's forte, and Shangi was Rakan's. What he said, what this implies here is that they wanted to keep on winning to have their way with the other side. This is a finger. Yubikiri. It was a trending curse back then. Note, on Yubikiri, pinky swear, the meaning of finger cutting off is often additionally confirmed with the vow pinky swear whoever lies will be made to swallow 1,000 needles. This is an old tradition that was originally started in red light district during the Edo era, where courtesans would cut off their pinky fingers and give them to the man they truly love. Hmm. How did you do this? 37. 38 na tayo. No group scandation. We're recruiting. We're looking for Japanese translator. Balsam and Wood Sorrel. Part 2. Rakan, who was drunk because of the match with Mau Mau, suddenly recalled a memory about a woman he met in the past as well as his daughter. But I see. I ended up getting drunk and lost consciousness during my match with Mau Mau. Drub, drub. Is this Rokushokan? I think there was something about redeeming a courtesan from Rokushokan. I feel like I just had a very nostalgic dream, Westeros said. That warp, little finger, there's no mistaking it. It's completely understandable that she hates me, but even so, I still want to be with her. I've been trying to do so since a long time ago. I guess I'll give up for now, but I'll take her back one day for sure. However, that man, I can never forgive him. During our match, he dared to touch my daughter's shoulder 3 times. I'll be sure to find a way to have him pay for that. Have you woken up? His voice. Mimi, you were brought here by the servants of a certain esteemed guest. But I must say your face sure looks awful. It's not like I wanted to end up like this, you know. Mei who is one of the current three princesses of Rokushokan, used to be Fonshen's Kamoro. I used to play with her a lot back in the days. She would get all fidgety whenever I praised her skills. Now that I think about it, the servant was that the servant that was dismissed that day, I think that was Mimi. After I fully repaid my reparation which took me 10 years, it was Mimi who allowed me in. She is the only courtesan among everyone in Rokushokan to treat me properly. Maybe it's because she feels guilty about leaving us alone on that day, that she's taking care of me now. Please drink this, thanks. Bitter, what is this? Hehe. Looks like it was made by Momo. So it was Momo. Momo also left this box. This is a dried rose. I wasn't aware that you could preserve its shape using this method. Haven't heard a rumor about it from my uncle. I once tried making some blue roses as a prank, but that's a story from a long time ago. finally woke up? I heard you want to redeem one of our courtesans. This voice must be the granny, huh? I'm sure you're aware that they can't be brought with just a mere thousand or two, right? She's still as greedy as always, I know. If 10,000 wouldn't be enough, I can do 20 or even 30,000. 100,000 would be a bit too much though. Well, I'll just go beg my nephew for some money if it comes to that. It's good that you understand now. Follow me. You can pick whoever you want. Hmm. So, hmm. Can I pick one of the three princesses too? I told you, you can pick whoever you want, but I'll cost you. Now then, what should I do? A bunch of go pieces dressed up in fancy clothes. I guess I have to choose one of them though. I can at the very least give them a home, but if they don't want that, I can just give them money and let them do what they want with it. No matter who I choose, I'll never be able to feel the same way as that day again. Since it's like that, when I think it should be okay to pick Meme for having treated me well until now. Surakan, I do have my pride as a courtesan. If that's what you really wish for, I won't complain. But please choose carefully. Meme, don't open the window as you wish. Shaken, shaken. Oh my god. What are you doing? I know. This song and that, this voice. Grandma praised me that I What do you think you're doing, Cluck Cluck? That's the room for our patients. Get out of here right now. Behave. You need to go back and choose your courtesan. You're right, I have to choose. Granny, it'd be 100,000 or 200,000. I don't care how much it costs. Just please let me pick her. What are you saying? You told me I could pick anyone, right? Do don't go saying something stupid now. Whoosh. Hold on. I said I have no big sister. If only, if only we're honest from the start. I really wish this was resolved before I started to have hope. Ah, Granny, I redeemed this courtesan, this woman who is this woman who is as beautiful as a balsam flower. TL notes. The song Fon Shen is singing in the Guangdong variant of the song. The song is usually used as a lullaby for young children. The song full lyrics are, which can roughly be translated to shake and shake me to grandma's leg. Grandma praised me and I behaved. Asked me whenever mom's been treating me great. I said I have no complaints. These songs are for nurturing her own children. Dream of nurturing her own children and also her wish of having a happy family where all three generations could live together. Mm-mm. So exhausted. Nurturing those roses was pretty tiring, but it was nothing compared to taking on that old guy. To talking on that old guy. As expected, I can't get used to him. Hmm. Hmm. It was Basin who accompanied me and later help in sending that man away. He can be a bit stiff sometimes, but he's still reliable nonetheless. That being said, he seems to be in a bad mood for some reason. Scheming bastard. Oh, that's Concert Rokan's group. So she ended up staying behind after the garden party. I see. By bastard he meant Concert Rokan's father, the one who had his daughter forcefully enter the inner palace. He has been a central political figure since the previous emperor. From that, from what I've heard, he seems to be quite in the pain in the neck for the current emperor, who values actual talent. That being said, even though there's no one here but us two, I would prepare if he stopped bad-mouthing high-ranking officials like that. There's no telling that would happen if someone were to overheard him. Well, he might be around my age, but he's still inexperienced. Returning to Jinxie's chamber. Balsambuch ko daw. After losing his match to Mau Mau, Rankan reunited with Fon Shen and asked to redeem him. Oh my, look at how thin you are. I'll bring you something to eat, so just sit and wait here. Sluggish. I wonder if that old man found the letter I snuck under the roses box. Well, eat as much as you'd like. It's alright even if he didn't notice, since Big Sister Mei Mei is also there. Hmm, I thought you resented him. That strategist, I mean. Jinsei-sama. While I do find him annoying, I don't resented him. It doesn't seem that way to me. Eccentric as he may be, he did manage to knock up my mother, allowing me to come into being. I could it, couldn't you have said that a bit more deliberate? Shock. It's the truth after all. I am not sure what's going through your mind, but it's impossible to get a courtesan pregnant without her consent. We have contraceptives and abortion medicines. Not to mention we can easily abort the child if we discovered it soon enough. It's safe to say that a child can only be born intentionally. Women can, to a certain extent, predict the date before when it's easy for them to conceive by observing their own menstrual cycle. And when it comes to courtesan, changing the designated visiting day is just a matter of a single letter. If anything, I'd say the entire thing was a trap. For that strategy is impossible. Women can be quite crafty. That's why they might sometimes lose themselves when their plans go astray, even to the point of hurting themselves. Jinsey-sama, you've never talked to that old man outside your office, correct? Now that I think about it, he always barges into my office. That man can't recognize people's faces. What do you mean? I'm not sure about the real reason, but it seems that he can recognize the shape of people's eyes and mouth, just not their face. Because of that, everyone looks the same to him. I heard about it from my father. He's a pitiful guy. Despite being so clever, he has to suffer because of this one shortcoming he has. I'm not sure why, but he can actually recognize my father's face. This is also probably why he's so unusually obsessed with us. Could that fact alone make you hate him this much though? I'm just not so good at dealing with him. The memory of that day is still fresh in my mind. A man covered in blood suddenly approached me while laughing like a maniac. That dreadful feel that dreadful figure was burned into the depths of my childlike mind. Even so, father never tried to stop Granny when she was hitting that man with her broom. He knew that man made a mistake, and he also knew about the woman who lost her nose as a result. However, that man never learned his lesson, and after having seen him covered in blood so many times, I become used to it and stop getting surprised by it. Jinsei-sama, would you do if what would you do if that man told you to call him Papa? Ah, I would probably break his monocle, right? Even though that man wanted me to call him father, he only contributed to my birth, nothing else. It's impossible for him to replace Roman, the one who actually raised me. That being said, I do appreciate that man for having given me the chance to become Roman's daughter. But that's not the only reason why I can't come to like him. He saved me during that incident, that strategist, but he didn't know anything back then. That's just who he is. Unlike me, who only makes predictions based on the evidence I've gathered, he relies solely on his sharp intuition when making decisions. Interestingly enough, he rarely gets things wrong. That man is the very reason why Rihako was able to finish his investigation on Surrey so quickly, and also why the Ministry of Justice moved so fast. When I think about it, it annoys me to no end. What irks me, however, is that he always pushes work onto others without moving his own. If he had personally stepped up and directly involved himself, when I would have gotten my hands on the resurrection medicine by now, I know that what I'm experiencing right now is called jealousy. There aren't many people in this country whose talented father would praise. That old man still doesn't realize just how blessed he is. Although it's impossible to make him an ally, let's at least try not to make him an enemy. Got it. Is something wrong? Just please know that it's nothing. There is no father in the world who wishes to be hated by his own children. Hmm. We pick up alternative versions. What kind of versions? A few days after I returned to the inner palace, a parcel from Mamie arrived. Inside it was a letter about how someone was redeemed, as well as a beautiful piece of cloth. Momo promised me that she'll dance when I leave this place. Clink, clink, flutter, loosen. All of this feels like a joke. It's the same as when concert Fuyu was awarded last year. I still can't move my left leg properly because of the wound, but oh well, it should be okay. Seems like I can still remember the steps properly. Oops. What are you doing? That ought to be my line. What are you doing here? I received a report about a strange woman trying to scale the walls. So of course I had to come deal with it. I wanted to avoid attracting attention, but it seems that didn't go so well. Good grief. Don't go causing so much trouble, but I don't think Jinchi-sama should be the one personally investigating such matters. Incline. The guard who saw you was familiar with your face, so he reported the matter directly to me. Please remember that even if you think it's alright, if you're being inconspicuous, the people around you might not think the same. How bothersome. What did you do this time? It's a tradition in Hamanachi to perform a dance when sending off courtesans who are being redeemed. I was sent these clothes from the brothel, so I figured I might as well stir. What is it? It's just, I'm surprised you can dance.
I was taught as a part of basic training for receiving customers. And although I participated in the synchronous dance with the others during celebrations, my skill aren't something customers would come specifically to see. The rumors about the eccentric man redeeming our courtesan had spread outside, I guess so. Incidentally, he applied for work leave. It appears that he's taking 10 days off. The letter I received from my sister said that that instead of holding the banquet for 3 days and 3 nights like they usually do, they held it for 7 days and 7 nights. I don't know how much she spent, but judging by the amount of lanterns installed, it's clearly not an amount for a regular courtesans. I'm sure the courtesan who is being redeemed is wearing beautiful clothes, but there is no way she can show herself to the public. Just as Granny intended, the rumors spread far and wide. Is there any beautiful courtesan aside from those three princesses who could catch the eyes of that eccentric old man? There's no doubt that everyone will be curious and flock to Rokushokan in search of the answer. Well, the person I really wanted to send off was Big Sister Mamie. Even though I was really bad at dancing, she never gave up on me and taught me properly. She is a kind courtesan. I don't know what was she was thinking when she allowed that man into Rokushokan. According to her, that man didn't do anything inside. She only spent her time listening to him rambling about his daughter and the woman he had with her. She said he would sometimes approach the Go board and start placing Go pieces as if he was reminiscing about the matches he had played in the past. I don't know whether that's the truth or not, though. She could have just said that because she didn't want to hurt my feelings. But I think Mimi would be happy if she were to be redeemed by that man. Putting his personality aside for a moment, he's still a wealthy man, so she wouldn't have to suffer in life. The well-educated and beautiful Mimi would the very the well-educated and beautiful Mimi would at the very least end up becoming a very devoted wife. I would have been better if he chose Big Sister Mamie. I still don't know if that man found. This seems to be quite the big celebration. Who did he redeem anyway? Do you know anything about it? Who knows? I wonder who could it be. So, you know, don't you? No matter how beautiful that woman is, she's no match against you, Jinsei-sama. That's not the answer, though. You didn't even try to deny that. The woman redeemed by that man doesn't have much longer to live. She no longer has any of her memories because of the disease and only spends her time singing like a little girl. She is no longer capable of doing anything else except arranging stones. No one in the brother ever told me anything about the woman who gave birth to me. I'm sure Granny told them to keep quiet, but no one can stop rumors. It didn't take me long to figure out that I was the reason for the decline of Rokushokan, and that the woman responsible for that, the one who did however she pleased, was the woman who was being eaten away by her disease. Ashamed of losing her nose, she eventually lost sight of reality until her heart broke. That being said, she has no memories of being a mother. The courtesan who was pregnant with a child eventually turned insane as the man she aimed for never come back. In her last-ditch effort of getting the man she wanted, she sent a letter in which she not only attached her own pinky finger but her baby's pinky finger as well. That dream about that demonic woman was real. Even so, I can't remember anything from back then. The only thing left is this warped pinky finger of mine. Well, regardless, she's no longer related to me. I'm just happy to be able to live as Rumen's daughter. Shinsisama, what is it? Is this really the time you talk about that? Did you know that if the tip of your finger is cut off, it can grow back? Oh, what's wrong? My wound opened up. What do you mean it opened up? Why did you realize it earlier, Pastor Blaster? I did feel hot, but I thought that was because of the dance. My sense of pain is dull because of all the medicine I used to try out on my body. Don't worry, I already prepared some disinfectant and needle with some thread. Why do you have those on you? Why would you ask? Of course, it's for this kind of occasion. Ah, Rams. Jinchi-sama, I can't sew my wound if you hold me like that. Don't do it here. Wait, tap, 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 tap. Jinchi-sama, hmm, why did you change the way you're carrying me? It was uncomfortable. If that's the case, please put me down. Your wound will worsen if I do that. It's uncomfortable to be this close to his face. What will happen if someone sees this? It's dark, no one will see a thing. Besides, this is the second time I'm carrying you like this. The second time? There were a lot of onlookers back when, Ah, he's talking about that time I lost consciousness because of my wound. Huh? Chisisama, this is something really important to me. So I need to say this to you no matter what. I'm sorry to speak at a time like this, but there's something that I've been wanting to say for a while now. Why did you get all serious all of a sudden? Then just say it already. Alright, then please give me my ox visor. Ah, don't tell me you don't have it. What a rude thing to say. Even so suddenly headbutting me is kinda immature. Good grief. But well, I'm immature. His immaturity his immaturity is what makes him easy to talk to. Afterwards, a rumor about a certain nobleman from a big country was searching for various miracle medicine spread. As a result, Jinxi's office ended up receiving a lot of get well flowers. But at the time of the two, I was still weren't aware of that. In the next issue, a new story unfolds. In the next story that gets about the 14. The thing she's making using the leftover roses is what? Hmm, in celebration of Rakan redeeming Funshen, Mao performed a dance on top of the walls of the inner palace. Interested in the scene, Jinxie also climbed up. Unknowingly, Mao would open up again, forcing Jinxie to carry her down. As she was firmly held in Jinxie's arm, Mao asked him about her ox bizarre, making the atmosphere between the two awkward. What are you doing? Even if you ask me, we found a distiller when we were cleaning the office. So we decided to collect the remaining roses that we had left over from making those blue roses and make some scented oil. We boil the flowers in the lower boil of the apparatus, coolant, steam. The oil that ends up floating on top of the distilled water is the end product, burner. Water in the upper bowl of the apparatus will get cool the steam and in doing so produce a liquid which gets collected in the container over here. The smell is quite strong. It's kind of mild compared to roses grown in the wild though. Does the container over there contain the same thing? No, it contains alcohol. You can extract alcohol out of liquid when you distill it many times over. That alcohol can be used as a strong disinfectant. I plan on using it to maintain the hygiene in the Jade Palace where the princesses live. Does it really work? Yes, it's used in the Western world. And you're doing this because it's harder to do it at the Jade Palace? The reason for that is there are some scented oils that can cause miscarriage. Whisper. It should be safe as long as it's not too. I think they should be okay. I'm glad the quack doctor stepped away for a way to prepare mooncakes. He is a good person, but his mouth is too loose. It's too early for consort Gyoku's pregnancy to be known to public. Leaving that aside, what does Nishi-sama needed of me? So, anyone would be interested in what you're doing when you're leaking such a strong smell. Goshen is making a face as if he's trying to say, please have more dignity. Last, your package arrived. After, after all that effort of bringing it here while hiding it from Hanyan? Wow. What's this? Shinsei-sama, I see. From your home, you say. Why did you become even more excited? This is a package from my home. There is nothing of interest in there. There is underwear inside, so I see. Alright, crisis averted. This package needed two men to be brought here. So what kind of underwear is inside? Ah, regarding the inner palace, one of the major issues is naivety. Most of the maids here are virgins. If by any chance the emperor were to lose his composure, the woman here who would only cower in the best case scenario would end up making a mistake. It'd be a misfortune for them if that were to happen. That's why I brought what they should receive some knowledge beforehand to prepare. That's why you had all of this brought here. Inside the luggage are picture books that I previously used to educate the concert in the bedroom banters. Since the content consists of mostly images, it can be enjoyed even by an illiterate. These kinds of books are sometimes even given as a part of the dowry. Even Lady Rifa loves to read this kind of books. They're also occasionally sent to her to help comfort the emperor while he's abstaining from visiting the Jade Palace at night. Even though these books are expensive, they're still quite profitable. I tried requesting a bit more of them because I wanted to increase my sales, but this timing was really unlucky. It's not like I'm being greedy, it's just that in order to ensure my father is able to put food on the table, I need to do my best to secure an income there. What an extremely peculiar scene. He's actually indifferent to everything. This is exceptionally well made, and not just that. The quality of the paper is top notch too. Look. So it's about that. So it's an art print. It's not the usual wooden block print. I heard they use a printing technique from the West which uses metal plates. That's amazing. Yep. And since it's such a high quality item, I think we ought to show this to various people. This and that are different issues. That hurts. How about buying one if you like it? What? That's not it at all. Stare. I'm telling you, it's not. Cup. Well, I will overlook this matter just this once. Really? And I want you to tell me which store sells these books. Don't get me wrong, I see. It's okay, I understand. I just want to learn about their printing technique. Then the name of the store was it? Since it's Jinsei-sama, he could see as much of the real thing as he wanted, but scribble scribble. There are people out there who prefers looking at drawings instead. No worries, I understand. I'm telling you, it's not like that. Xiao Mao, what is it? I think there are things inside the books that need to be censored. So it's too extreme. But the Emperor was saying it wasn't enough up until now. You can't. Confiscate it, even though it was carefully unpacked by Granny. 10 days later, ah, what exactly do I see under the flowers? Hey, what do you think is bird under them? Probably horseshit that blooms so beautifully. That's why you take all small bites. Oh, isn't it your fault? In order to raise a plant, just water won't do. An adequate fertilizer is needed, so I don't think I said anything particularly wrong. Don't make fun of me. It was a line from a novel that's currently very popular. Shauran, you can read? If I remember correctly, she was born in a small village. I can't, but there is a maid who can, and she reads it to everyone. Knows about it. Don't tell me what's the end. I want to read the next one. There is another book being printed according to Gauchon. He said he'll bring it if he's able to. Do you want to give it a read too? It was distributed to all the consort of as a gift from the emperor. Welcome back, Mau Mau. He said it was okay to let others read it after they were done with it. It's a novel, but it's unexpectedly interesting. When they say unexpectedly, it's because fiction is often regarded as inferior to historical facts. Novels are treated as something uncultured in upper class society. But it seems like even fictional novels can excite the residents of the inner palace. I can't wait for the next part. This isn't this the setting that Shaorang talk about? These tanks belong to the bookstore I told Ginseng about yesterday. I thought he asked about it for government related issues, but it looks like he schemed something. The quality of this novel is befitting of a gift from the Emperor, and since a copy of it was given to all the consort, they must have printed hundreds of them. If they created a printed block of this novel, they can mass produce it with lower quality paper and sell it to the masses. The profit from this would be immeasurable. I should have asked for a finder's fee. But why? What's the reason for distributing a novel which is regarded as unrefined to the highly raised consort? But it's such a waste, even though we obtained permission from Lady Gyokoyu for this book to only be enjoyed by us is a bit, especially when the Jade Palace was only has a few residents. We were instructed to never show this to people outside the palace. We need to take good care of it since it's a present. Yes, yes. It can end up getting lost. I guess you're right. I see. If they can't lend it, they can just buy the same book and lend that one to others. But it's difficult to do so if you live in the inner palace. In that case, instead of lending out the physical book, why not copy the contents? What? I think it'll be difficult to copy the illustration, but since Lady Iran is good with writing, copying the letters shouldn't be too hard. You're right. Geez, you want to do something that bothersome? Infa, don't say that. Even so, what a roundabout way of achieving things. A lot of maid servants in the inner palace, aside from those with official responsibilities, are illiterate. A gift from the emperor, people would normally cherish it, but since it was given to all consorts, combined with the fact that it's a novel aimed for the general public and is low in scarcity, looks like the higher ups are also worried about this issue. One day, when I was cleaning Jinxie's room, I stumbled across a document that talked about increasing the literacy rate of maid servants. It wouldn't come as a surprise if a few outrageous consort didn't even bother reading it. But if the emperor said it was okay to show it to other people, a few consorts would probably end up asking their maids to read it to them. Among the maids who read the novel, if there is someone like Iran who wants to share the story with others, it wouldn't be strange if the novel ended up reaching someone like Shauran who can't read. I can't understand the feeling of wanting to share things with others when you find something interesting. Look, yeah, back when I was a kid, I also showed that peculiar snake I found to everyone. Well, no matter what the genre is, as long as there are books in the inner palace, the number of literate people will more or less increase. And so Jinshi plan ended up being somewhat successful. Mama, teach me how to read! Why all of a sudden, Hans? The one who reads novels to me lost her voice. She did her best by making me a copy of the book, but I can't read. I remember Iron saying something about it, but I'm surprised there was someone who actually did it. What a nice thing to do, considering paper isn't free. Do? Since we went out of her way to make it for me, I should at least be able to read it on my own. Good girl. Geez, what are you doing? The first word I thought was her name. I was told it's important because it teaches you about your origins. Mama. Because of my name, however, I was often told I was unlovable just like a stray cat. Just saying Shaoran tried to write it. Alright. Actually, I'm not sure whether I used the correct kanji or not. Hmm. My name is quite difficult to write, isn't it? Writing helps you read faster, but how about learn just how to read? I'd like to learn how to write as well since we're at it. I'll have to find a job after I leave the inner palace. I'll be helpful if I'm able to write right. I'll try writing it again. Even in the inner palace, those who are literate get a job with a better pay. And some of the most exceptional ones will receive the opportunity of being assigned to office work outside the palace. Looks like she's thinking about her future in her own way. Since Sharon came to the inner palace as a maidservant at roughly the same time as me, she's already served half of her 2-year public duty term. She was sold to the palace in exchange for food, so I don't think she can exactly return home after that. Well, then let's pick up the pace, shall we? Okay, thanks a lot. So how do you read this? Cordyceps? How about this one? Devil's trumpet. And this one? Kodsuru. Say, are these even commonly used words? Let's start with greetings for now. For now. Oh boy. In the Jade Palace, it has been a year and a half since Princess Rinri was born. She has started running around on her own recently. I don't really like children, but compared to taking care of cheeky kids that are sold to the brothel, a mere tomboy princess is actually pretty cute. The palace is going to become too small for her soon. I think it's about time we start letting her take walks outside. Well, the garden in the Jade Palace certainly is wide, but she'll eventually grow bored of it if we always take her to the same palace. To the same place. Palace ako ng palace, it's place. A lady born into a prestigious family would usually be careful raised inside the confines of the house, but it looks like Consort Gyukuyu doesn't use that approach. Right. What do you think, Mama? What, me? She has a flexible way of thinking. In consideration for her health, I think it would be good if we increase the number of times the princess goes outside. I think it has something to do with how she was raised in the western arid region where they don't practice foot binding. And compared to other consorts, she was raised in more lenient environments. Like, then I'll ask for permission. A few days later, only when accompanied by the headmaid and two eunuchs assigned as guards, is the princess is allowed to go out. It's quite overprotective for a mere walk, but considering all the emperor's children died at a very young age until now, I guess it can't be helped. Consort Gyukuyu, who is pregnant, will stay inside for her own safety. Since Maumo is familiar with flowers and animals, how about teaching her during your walks? Lady Gyukuyu, that's a bad idea. She'll only end up teaching her strange things. We don't know we don't know to whom she'll be married in the future, right? Oh my, but I think I'll prove to be quite useful. There's a chance she'll be married off around 10 years from now. It'd be for the best if she has to marry a retainer of this country, but in the case she was to marry to another country, there'd be no guarantee she'd be welcomed with open arms. So she wants to prepare her with knowledge about medicine and poison. She's quite a crafty consort. I understand. And the headmaid also somewhat understand the situation. After the emperor distributed the novel, a lot of the residents of the inner palace become intrigued to learn how to read, and as a result, Mama was asked by Shauran to teach her how to read, but running freely, guided by curiosity. A small princess walking around accompanied by maids and eunuchs will naturally attract attention. Every onlooker has their own response to the scene. Some look at her with a warm, sheepish smile, while some realize that she's a princess and take a step back to bow. And then there are those that look at her with an unspeakable expression. Each and every one of them has their own thoughts about the princess. And soon, she too will begin to understand the meaning of their gazes. The first I thought she would end up acting scared and crying since this is her first time meeting a lot of people outside, but it looks like my worries were for nothing. Instead of being scared, she shows interest in all kinds of things and will approach them without hesitation. That boldness of her is just like concert Gyukoyus. That's called muggle. I wonder if she understood that. Ah. That noise just now, it didn't come from the princess. Looking around. Yeah, that princess. Princess, please wait. Yeah. Princess, you can't go there. Yeah, I'll go take a look. Mama, ship, tremble. A kitten. Now that's strange. There isn't supposed to be any cons but raising a cat in the inner palace. Meow. She wants me to catch it? No other choice then. Sneak. Shush. He's. Do you need this little one? It looked like you were trying to catch him though. Was I wrong? No. Thank you very much. Looks like the kitten is hungry. Well then, I'll leave it to you. She's wearing the same uniform as Shauran, but I've never seen her in the laundry area before. Mau, is that? I want meow. It's a kitten. Wow. Whoa. But it looks like it's pretty weak. It's quite dirty, so I'd be for the best not to let the princess touch it. I see. Let's keep her Let's keep it for the time being. Ah, there. I'll report it to the higher ups. And just like that, the cat was taken to the doctor's office. If it wasn't brought by a consort, then how did it get in here? How did it get there inside? Yeah. Kirabato siya, kirabato. 43.
Let's go, guys. Siya. So, dahil medyo pagod ng kaluluwa ko, it's already 3 in the morning. So, I think I ended up in WebNovel in chapter 43, Cat Conclusions. How many chapters does this have? 66. I guess that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video, even if I pronounced some of them badly. I didn't even know if I pronounced it correct. So, yeah, I guess that's it. Good morning and see you on my next upload here on my YouTube channel live. I hope you still high self. This video is always and has been for you to gain confidence. Bye, self.